Hello, welcome back to the FlurrySports podcast, and this is big news today, Jake, and you don't even know about this yet. This is, and what a good time to do it, the first time we're ever going live on TikTok. So theoretically, we're live on TikTok right now. They said it couldn't be done. They said it wouldn't be done. They said TikTok was completely over. Then we rose from the dead like the Undertaker, and I thought, hey, let's strike while the iron's hot. A lot of people are now just downloading TikTok, and we're like, okay, now's the time to dip our feet in. And this may look terrible because we are not on portrait mode, which I declined before going live. This may not work at all. This may not be anything good, but if you are watching on TikTok, definitely let us know. And if you're watching anywhere, listening, live or after the fact, please comment, please subscribe. And if you are joining live with us, definitely give your predictions for the college football playoff championship tonight and your Super Bowl predictions as well. How's it going, Jake? Happy MLK Day to you, especially.
Happy MLK, especially. Thank you. Happy MLK Day to you as well. We are celebrating. I will say, we don't have to clog the calendar like this. MLK Day's got inauguration on it. It's got
a lot of stuff. Yeah.
The national championship. It's MLK Day. It's a day of mourning for Lions fans and fans of fun.
Yeah.
It's a lot going on. We could spread it out a little bit.
What's a better, we should move MLK Day. I think it's what we're thinking. So what's a better month for MLK Day to happen? May? June? Nothing happens in June, right? It's just Flag Day. June's a great month for it.
You know what it does smell like is like everyone was like MLK should have a day, and then all these other folks came out of the woodwork and was like, oh, a day off for things, let's use that. Like they don't know why there's a day off, like they had to check and they're like, why don't I work on Monday?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, a lot of people I know have done that. And also, I don't know, everything just feels too cramped. We just had the New Year, we just had Christmas, we just had Thanksgiving before that. I need a breath. I need to space this out. If this was at a better time, I could truly appreciate this day for what it is. But to your point, I'm just thinking national championship. I'm just thinking, is Dan Campbell okay? That is what he's going to lose his friends.
No, is the answer.
Devastating. No, he's not. A lot of things happening in the NFL. Just before we went live, it said, I got a notification saying the Bears are going to hire Ben Johnson. So that takes one more, candidate off the market. Aaron Glenn, defensive coordinator for the Lions, supposedly will accept the Jets job if they offer it to him. Not saying it's, I don't think he's even interviewed yet. So that is an interesting situation there. Do we want to talk about the coaching carousel while we're just on the topic, I suppose?
Well, Zach, I had a metaphor for you. I was going to take us into this topic. So I'll jump into it now, which is, have you ever had a song? Can a song come to mind that you like heard it for the first time? You're out on it. And now, years later, you're like, I was so wrong. I've got an example for you.
Oh, okay.
I think this is a song we came to this realization together on. I think we used to clown The Man by The Killers. And
yes, I've definitely clowned it.
I'm in on it now. I've come around.
It's
because
funny.
I now have cash in the bank, gas in the tank.
It's funny for what it is. I never would like to sit through listening to it. Like the whole thing.
Really? It pops me a little bit when it comes on.
It just makes me sad. It's like the Killers used to be something and now they're this.
But forget it's the Killers. It's a fun song. Okay. Same thing. Yeah. Call Me Maybe. I was a hater. Now
Maybe's fun.
Yeah. It's a fun song. I don't know why everyone disliked it.
I did a dramatic reading of it in my freshman communications class, and that brought the house down. So I do have a love-hate relationship. It's annoying, of course, but it's funny for what it is. The Man is funny for what it is, but then it keeps going. Like if it was a minute and a half, maybe, or 60 seconds would be probably perfect. That would be great. Another song I'm trying to think. Anything by Muse, I fully hated, and now like they're not that bad actually.
No.
So maybe them.
If you
Hoodie
can get
Allen.
over how Muse
Anything by
sounds,
Hoodie Allen.
anything by Hoodie Allen. Honestly, I love college.
Oh,
Asher
Asher
Roth.
Roth.
Yeah.
That's true. That's a good one, actually.
Yeah.
Handlebars is also in that sort of era, which I do. I love that song. I probably disliked it when it started.
All right. Comment what everyone else is thinking as you listen to this. But as you do, I think we can all see where this metaphor is going. That's right, Zach. Cliff Kingsbury.
Okay, sure.
I was like coming into this today and I'm like, who's the guy who I've not heard like this one's going to get hired somewhere? Someone should hire. I know. Someone should hire him.
He doesn't want to.
That doesn't, the right lady hasn't asked him to dance yet, Zach.
Well, sure, but he's getting paid a head coach salary to work with Jaden Daniels and not fucking suck at football. So I think he's comfortable for a minute here.
I hear that. And could someone woo him a little bit? Cliff deserves to be wooed. I watched that game this weekend and I went,
sure.
At least for me, I was like, this dude sucks in Arizona. And now that I've had time to separate myself and I hated him in OU.
Sure. And maybe let's draw the connection. Who actually sucks then? Because someone sucked.
I did know we can't get out of this without hammering on old Kyler.
Yeah, he's not good. Weird.
He's not good. He did cost Cliff his job.
He did, but Cliff made plenty of money. He is doing okay. The only opening that I think would even do anything and is just money is Cowboys. Why would Cliff leave this to go coach the Raiders or the Jets? Fuck that.
Yeah, and especially since it seems like the Bears deal is a done deal.
Even still though, okay, he had the chance to go there last year and he's work with Caleb Williams again? No, thank you.
But he'd be a head coach. Listen, we talked about this a little bit last week. I think the question would be if they see these guys the same way we do, which is bus city. Because it's I'm curious what he thinks about someone like Trevor Lawrence. Does he is that a diamond in the rough that he just has been around the wrong people?
Yeah, I think there's for sure people who think that.
And is Cliff one of them? The handsome bastard. Does he want to get down there, get his hands on him?
I think even Doug Peterson probably thinks that. It's just everything else that comes with Jacksonville is not the best. There's a mustached man that makes a lot of decisions that isn't great. There's a general manager who is still there for some reason who is less than that. Jacksonville's a lot. It needs a special person like Urban Meyer to come in and change it,
Still insane. People will forget he was just a bad coach while he was there.
I would argue he was a bad man when he was there too.
But people remember that. I feel like give it 5 years and people will be like, he wasn't that bad at Jacksonville. He just made bad decisions. Wrong. Bad coach and bad dude.
Hey, he found a couple people though. He brought in ETN and he's he didn't get him because remember he got hurt. Maybe Urban's still there if ETN didn't get hurt.
Urban came in and said, boy, Dabo's team's pretty good. Maybe we should pick some of his boys.
Basically.
Yeah. Listen, all I will say about the coaching carousel is it's always interesting to we do this with quarterbacks, right? I feel like we're in a renaissance right now. And maybe the renaissance is dead. Sam Darnold may have killed the renaissance, but we were having a moment where we were like, did these teams quit too early on these QBs? And I think sometimes we do that with coaches. Cliff Kingsbury was America's darling. He was coming up from college. Oh, he's a great coach. They stick him with Kyler, to your point, and it was he was a bust. He was full of himself.
I think trust your eyes.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is everyone dogged on Jared Goff, and he is a terrible quarterback. We have a video on YouTube saying, do not tie your franchise to Jared Goff Lions. We are warning you. And then Jared Goff starts playing well, and everyone's like, you guys are idiots. And then they paid him, and then he just lost his team the playoff game. Same thing. Sam Darnold, terrible. And then, he was so good this year. I can't believe the Jets are just that bad. And then all of a sudden he gets into the McVay Shanahan system and he's incredible. And then he did what to end the year? We just remember, people can make you forget Baker Mayfield. I love Baker with my whole fucking heart. Okay. What did Baker do in this last game? Like he threw the game away.
Yeah.
Like, no, people can fool you, but they are. It's hard to get a bad stink out of these quarterbacks, out of these coaches. If Cliff Kingsbury becomes a head coach again, he's going to be very bad. Yes, it's hard to overcome Kyler, and that was part of the issue. He also said, Kingsbury, after 3-ish, I believe, years of head coaching in the NFL, that he's starting to get used to calling plays on an NFL-sized field. Figure it the fuck out. Like, you can't say that as an NFL.
By the way, he did.
Play caller. No, he didn't. Like,
he's got it now.
Now he's got Jaden Daniels to be like, hey, so I'll do this. It's fine.
Yeah.
Cliff's an okay offensive coordinator. Not a good head coach. But like, yes, there's situations where we move off of someone too quickly. Yes, there's some franchises who should celebrate mediocrity because they are just trying to get to mediocre. But Jared Goff's Jared Goff. Let's not pretend that he is worth any of the money he has been paid.
Well, I think that's an interesting. I don't want to lose it, so I'm going to pin the Jared Goff comment because I think that's a good jump into what happened this weekend. But to tie off the Cliff Kingsbury thing, it's been a while since I've just been monumentally wrong about something. And I think often on this show, there are things I say that go under the radar. So I'm going to help us out in post. I'm going to put a big old anchor on this one. And I'm aware I don't put myself out there very often. I'm just going to ride the Cliff Kingsbury Express wherever it may take me. If he gets hired somewhere, good pick, boys. I always believed in him.
I think it's a next year thing. I think he's for sure coming back no matter what.
And will he be a bust? Most likely, but not in my eyes. So I'm warning the people right now. My Nick Wright hill to die on is Cliff Kingsbury. And I don't know why.
He feels like the person where it's like the Steelers run it back with Mike Tomlin one more year. They get to 9-10 wins, make the playoffs, lose right away again, as it always happens. They finally part ways with Mike Tomlin. We need a fresh breath of fresh air. We know the Steelers' defense is going to be there. We need to get some offense. And they bring in Cliff Kingsbury, and they are cursed for the next 50 years. Kingsbury feels like he would bring a curse with him wherever he goes. And Easy, what's up in the chat? I see you. Let us know your predictions for any coaching stuff or championship games coming up. But yeah, I mean, if I'd be surprised. Actually, maybe not. I was going to say I'd be surprised if there's a coaching hire that surprises me this cycle. But if there's one place that could surprise me, maybe it's the Raiders. I feel like that would be the one.
Or the Jags.
Maybe Jags. It just feels like, okay, so let's talk it through. Ben Johnson hired by Chicago. Vrabel's already hired by the Pats.
Yeah.
Jets now. It seems like Jets is between Rex and Aaron Glenn.
Correct. I will say I'm going to count Rex as a surprise if it happens.
I don't know if it's a surprise. Like, I feel like there's probably betting odds out for this. I think Rex is probably the favorite, at least up until yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that was the media side of it. That's what I'm going to say. Maybe it's less surprise, more fun. But this is not the first job that Rex has been, at least behind closed doors, being like, please hire me. So,
and by the way, Dan Orlovsky received a call from someone trying to become a head coach in the NFL. Like he's part of their potential team as a quarterback coach, but he didn't say who it is. If it's fucking Dan Orlovsky under Rex Ryan in New York and they're just forming an ESPN super team, which maybe we should figure out what that staff would look like.
All right, pause. We're doing that right now because we got it. We got it. They have a former head coach who I hope would be his offensive coordinator. That's right, Jeff Saturday.
Okay. I mean, he's at least a line coach. He's there, but offensive coordinator's good.
Yeah, well, he's had experience. Should he at least be an OC?
Hey, they put up so many points against the Vikings. They lost that game, but they were up like 33-0, 31-0 at halftime. Yeah. He beat the Chiefs. Like that many teams have done that over the past couple of years.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, we'll pencil him in. For more fun, let's make him O-line coach for now.
Okay, I'm trying to see if I can find like an actual list of current NFL people on ESPN.
All right, take your time. Defensive coordinator, Teddy Bruschi. We mentioned him last week. He finally gets the call.
Fuck that dude. But sure.
Who else do we got? Is Wink commentating yet? Can we get Wink back in there?
Could get Wink. Where's Shannon Sharp gonna go? Because he's got to go somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Shannon is we could just put him at the position he played. Or do we give him a more prestigious position? I think ends in wide receiver coach.
I mean, him being a play caller sounds awesome. No one would be able to figure it out, including the quarterback, but it sounds fun.
Yeah.
God, this isn't.
Who does Tony Dungy work for?
NBC.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
That sound right?
Offensive coordinator Mina Kimes.
That's okay.
I'm cool.
There would be quite a bit of heat, but that would be
not from this guy.
No. We could get.
What's Booger doing?
I mean, I don't know what Booger's doing.
Concessions.
We can get. Why can't I think of his name now? Aikman could be offensive coordinator, maybe.
Okay, Aikman's OC. I like that. Mina can be. She's a defensive coordinator candidate.
She is. Okay.
Teddy can coach the linebackers. Ryan Clark can coach the safeties.
The one exception, obviously, Rob is going to be on the staff. Rob Ryan. So he pencil him in for some defensive position, or fun coordinator or something.
True. Oh, what are we doing? We forgot. We have our OCDC. We'll have to move some people around. We can find Troy can be a special consultant. We can move some people around because coming off the Monday Night Football crew desk in their respective positions, of course, Jason Kelsey, offensive coordinator, and
put him at line coach. I want to take this seriously. Put him at line coach.
Oh, we were taking it seriously? Okay.
Yeah, I am. Come on, we're putting together a staff. If they watch this, they're like, this is good. Then they might as well pay us and not the 33rd team.
True. And Marcus Spears is defensive.
Sure. Scott Van Pelt can be general manager.
All right. Now that I know we're taking this seriously, give me your names. Give me your actual names. I'll look some people up.
It's hard to figure it out. Right now I'm looking at NFL on ESPN. So we got Aikman, who's an NFL guy, obviously.
Yeah.
Marcus Spears. We got Ryan Clark, Jason Kelsey.
Bruschi.
What a game changer if we get Schefter as general manager.
Yeah. Well, what I was trying to think of is they have a guy who was GM. He announces for him sometimes.
Announces? Okay, it's not who I was thinking of.
Who are you?
Louis Riddick wants to be a GM fucking bad. He's on ESPN.
And he was an announcer. He's not right now, but he was.
Correct.
Yeah.
Trying to think.
He's not a bad one.
No, he's not bad at all. He would be a fine general manager. What's his name from? He was the former GM of the Jets for Rex. He's at ESPN. They hate each other, so it wouldn't work. But he's the one who's heading up the 33rd team shit that got Rex the interview, which is interesting.
Not Mike Mackinnon.
No.
2012. That's right after him. Mike Tannenbaum.
Tannenbaum, yeah.
Where's Van Gundy coaching?
Van Stan?
Yeah, can we get him in there?
Sure. Stan knows about molding men, boys into men, which is all we really need here. I don't know. We should put a pin in this and figure this out.
All right.
We'll come up with the correct. I don't know why ESPN's making it so difficult to just be like, hey, these are all the current people that we pay. I mean, shit. Where's Pat McAfee, special teams coordinator, I guess.
True. Okay, hear me out. Would you? Oh, if I forgot about McAfee. McAfee special teams coordinator, but you know what that means. If McAfee's in the payroll, we have our head coach.
Who?
Chucky P.
Yeah, Pagano, technically, yeah, for sure.
You want to talk about a molder of men?
That is a good point.
Honestly, okay. I am numbing myself to sleep, but we've actually made a real staff if we have if we have Ryan and Pagano on the same staff, I think we've canceled each other out. If Pagano's a OC,
Pagano would be DC, so it'd be Rex head coach, Pagano DC. That would actually work.
Perfect. Saturday's OC.
Saturday's OC. That's fine. And then if McAfee technically is part of the ESPN universe, and that means I think they came up with this deal. The NBA on T. Maybe that'd be. You know what? Yeah, sure. Belichick could be OC.
Get him in there technically. Yeah. I just looked
He was
up.
on the show
Herm
once.
Edwards was on the show this week. So I was like, does Herm count? Can we get him back in?
Herm would be great. But I think all the NBA and TNT, they came up with a deal with ESPN, right?
Yeah.
So we can get Chuck and Shaq somewhere.
Yeah. We'll look more into this, but this is interesting. But they definitely have some good position coaches. But yeah, if it's Orlovsky, I swear to God, okay, people who would actually go with, because this list is quicker, I for sure can see him taking Orlovsky, Saturday, and Clark with him.
For sure. Yeah.
Maybe Damian Woody is a glue guy.
He is, yeah.
And he loves Rex.
I don't mind Mike Greenberg in there somewhere.
Sure, get him off my TV.
I like Greedy. You don't like Greedy?
I'm a Golic guy through and through.
Same here. I think Greedy's good for what he is, but that's how we reunite Mike and Mike. Let's get him on the same staff.
Yeah.
One common goal. We're just trying to win football games.
Yeah.
Golic Jr. would be a great guy in there. Talk about a glue guy.
This locker room's got a lot of egos, but I like it.
Yeah. I mean, it would be terrible.
They have to hire Chuck Pagano. They got to get him to calm people down.
No kidding.
Or Van Pelt.
Van Pelt would be great. Van Pelt I could see him being a general manager.
Yeah.
I don't think he knows a ton about football, but we've seen that's not a prerequisite for this position. You know?
Yeah. No, not a lot of prerequisites, but I too am surprised the Lions lost, Randy. Thank you for chatting with us today. And we'll jump to there. I didn't want to lose this as you were talking about everything else. The Jared Goff of it all, which, that could be title. But I think it is What's My 40 Time. This is a true story. The first time I ever ran a 40-yard dash, I tripped and threw up. So it's a real thing that happened. Yeah.
TBD.
TBD. My senior year 40 time was 9.4, I think. So
not bad. Hey.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Better than tripping and throwing up.
For sure. Hey. Upward climb there.
It literally was. It was in a football practice, and Coach Peterson had us all chugging water. And I didn't think I was running the 40 that day because I was a stupid bench warmer freshman. They're like, yeah, get in there. I fucking got up from lapping it up at the trough, got over the 40-yard line, fell down, threw up.
There's no way Coach P's like, hey, go chug some water. We're about to run the 40.
I didn't think we were running the 40. He was like, all right, freshman, go get some water. And I was just chugging away because I'm like, cool, practice is over. How much water I drank is on me. I can recognize that.
It's a funny prank for like freshmen though. It's like, hey, let's do a milk chugging contest right before the 40 and see what happens. That'd be good.
Yeah, but I just remember I think voice of reason Coach Mack was like, oh, freshmen, we're not going to have you run. Like, we don't need your 40 times today. And then we started wrapping up. I drank all the water. I'm drinking out of the trough itself. I'm just loaded up, and I'm done for the day. And he's like, no, why not? Get him running. I'll show him.
Yeah. A lot of water came back out. Okay.
Yeah, it was a bad time. But no, 9.6.
Okay, there you go.
What was yours? So were you a 7?
No, it was like 5 something.
Whoa. There you go.
Once. But yeah.
Cost me 5 years of my life.
I believe my senior year I used my junior year's time. I don't believe I ran it again because I'm like, you know what it is. It's going to be slower than last year.
That does correct me. You went into your senior year with demands, and I've always credited you for that.
I mean, let's not waste anybody's time.
That's so true. You know what it is? You're not making me running back.
Well, why are we taking 40? This is my 4th year on this team. Are you sending this to colleges? Because they're not going to be impressed. It's going to be fine.
Yeah.
We'll have them look at other stuff. Yeah. You know what?
Yeah. They're not coming here for my 40 time, by the way.
Yeah. Also, I mean, high school football, so many stories. There was a moment where I was playing both ways and I hated it. I was so fucking tired. Cramping up like in the third quarter, like not even fourth quarter. It was not good. Did you say ally?
I did know you noticed that. I thought I was
but or maybe I'm getting the timelines wrong. We were in the weight room. Coach Mack, who we just talked to, a lot of Coach Mack stories, obviously.
Yeah.
And we were like breaking down like who's going to be on where on the depth chart. This did happen before this, I think. And he was trying to like mental game me, as you know. But he was just like, and he was just gauging where I was at. He was trying to like piss me off on purpose, for sure. But he's like, okay, so yeah, you're starting guard, whatever it was, on offense. But then he's like, defense. I'm like, yeah, starter there. And he's like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if you're a starter at defense. I'm like, no. Like, you can write that down right there. Like, this is what's gonna happen. And then he's like, you're not aggressive. You're just not mean enough. Like, you're a great guy. So he's like, you're a great guy, but you're just not mean enough. And he was just, and at first I'm like, I know what you're doing. Like, fucking stop.
Yeah.
He kept pushing. He took it further, and then it pissed me. It really pissed me off. And you know who got the worst of it? I believe it was. I mean, now I gotta get the name correct because I can't describe him because it sounds bad. Danny Jensen, is that his name?
Yeah.
Okay. He got the short end of the stick multiple times in practice.
Yeah.
He was the guy, and maybe this is something we should look into. Every time the coaches wanted to get me to do something, he's the guy they put against me to like kick his ass.
I was there for John Adeg. John Adeg was like out there all district DN, and it was like the only guy I practice against.
For the people at home, I say that. I point that out because everyone's in Wisconsin has a Danny Jensen. He's the token black kid of our team. And maybe the coaches had it out for him for that reason. I don't know. But he was the one every time. It's like, hey, go in there and get your ass kicked. Go ahead and do that.
Oak Mound is still working on their inclusive practices. But
we got a few now, a few halfies.
Yeah, but we have a little bit more diversity. That is true. But I will say, to your point there, Mac also called me out for being too nice, and I think I gave him the worst possible response, which I was like, oh, thanks.
Okay, yeah, that's Mac's like, okay. So that didn't go as
I will be manager. Yeah. He like tried to pep talk me. I was like, oh, cool. I won't do it.
Okay. Two different people. That's fair enough, I guess.
Yeah, but it was, if I had known it was a pervasive tactic, I would have responded differently. I thought he was just giving me some life advice, and I was like, oh, sick. See ya.
I should manage. You're right. Okay.
He was like, I'm gonna take the meat out of this guy. Wrong.
I'm gonna go chug some water. I don't have to run if I manage. That sounds great.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be kneeling over the trough. But Jared Goff. I have no idea. Oh, shout out Randy. That's what happened. But thanks for the comments. Thanks for engaging. But Jared Goff, I do want to point this out. When people talk about the Lions and people are going to be defending Jared Goff in response to all of this, as I think it's warranted shit. You can't not watch that game and go, Jared. And they were banged up. And there is a piece of me that's like, don't overreact. Like, your team wasn't 100% in any shape or form. You know, one of the best performing offenses for most of the year. I get all that. But here's the thing. It's not Sam Darnold and Jared Goff feel like they're the same conversation. They are not. The Lions are literally a player away from the Super Bowl.
Sure. Yeah.
The Lions as an organization are, like I told Claire, they're going to go into the offseason and be like, where are the few spaces we can get better, because we are a Super Bowl caliber team. And I think it'd be silly to not look at the quarterback position.
The Lions?
Yeah.
They're not going to look at the quarter. No,
but not for those reasons. They're not going to look at the quarterback position because Dan Campbell would kill somebody if they got rid of Jared Goff.
They literally just paid him.
I know, but they paid everybody. I don't know, man. Quarterbacks in the NFL, it's kind of interesting to me where it's like, I almost feel like teams should give themselves a pass, because it's like, you have to pay someone to be a starter. But does that mean they're just your anchor? Like either that decision defines your next 10 years or it doesn't.
Well, I mean, the Lions have proven they can win games with Jared Goff. He's not going to win you the big game. He, in fact, will actively lose you the big game, as we have seen time and time again throughout his career. But what the Lions are going to do, their offense is set. They're paying defense now. And I think the best possible thing happened for them. And that's, well, not yet. If Aaron Glenn leaves, that's great for them.
Yeah.
I love Aaron Glenn. I think he deserves a head coaching job. He's not a defensive brainiac.
No.
He's not that great. And I don't know how you like convince your fan base that this is a great hire after watching what the Lions just did. And yes, Jared Goff should be blamed for that loss. Aaron Glenn and that defense, they were so injured throughout this year, so it was going to catch up with them at some point. But he is actively terrible coaching against mobile quarterbacks as well. So I don't know. Like that game, it was surprising the Lions lost as bad as they did. It wasn't surprising to see Jane Daniels carve them up.
Yeah, would you be in agreement with me? I want to make sure you're still obviously more in touch with some of the X's and O's side things. I want to make sure I'm understanding correctly that yes, this Lions defense was shredded by injuries. I think people have taken that and been like, well, if this Lions defense was 100%, they're one of the best defenses in the league. This was like, to your point about the defensive coordinator, that was still their weakness when they were healthy.
Over the past several years, he just isn't good against mobile quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But even also, though, to Aaron Glenn's credit, I suppose, throughout this entire year, the players were outperforming their talent.
Yeah.
Obviously, this game's different if Aiden Hutchinson's in there. He was on record pace. He was insane to start this year. But like this still isn't that talented of a defense. They did a good job like signing a few corners or whatever, and they drafted a corner high. But to your point, like they are going to go into this offseason saying, hey, now we just add the final couple pieces to make a Super Bowl caliber roster if they stay healthy, which is very hard to do given the way they practice and play. But if they just add maybe another linebacker, another player up front on the defensive line, and then another 2 depth pieces at corner, there's no doubt they're a Super Bowl caliber defense at that point. They're not going to be top 5, but getting Glenn out, getting a fresh face in, I'm hoping the Lions, as someone who wants the Lions to succeed, I hope they don't promote from within at both. I could see them doing that at offensive coordinator. I don't know who's there at defense. I just hope they bring in I don't think they will get this guy, but I would love a Saleh there at defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Like another guy or they like the former players. Why wouldn't you bring in maybe Al Harris, put him at defensive coordinator from a DB coach to defensive coordinator?
Yeah.
Like someone like that. Like they could build an awesome staff here. I would, if I'm Lions fans.
It's not a terrible spot for Jared Mayo.
It's not. That's actually a good call.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about
Gerard
losing Ben Johnson or Aaron Glenn. It's hard. It's with all the turnover, it's hard to win a Super Bowl this next year. No team's ever done it after losing both coordinators, but you're not losing the most important parts of your team. No. Dan Campbell's number 1, and then you have all the players still. Like you guys can still run the NFC. Truly.
Yeah. And they get credit for this every once in a while. Not distracting from any points you make, but adding to it. I think part of it is the stability. I often think back of like what a credit that the GM and president, I think they have the best owner in the NFL because I think Ford just gets the fuck out of the way and is like, I picked good people. I'm just going to empower
new
them.
Change, but yeah.
100%. When they went from the worst, they had the worst president ownership group famously, but Brad Holmes and Campbell.
He's been good.
Yeah. And I think back of I can't believe they stuck with Campbell. If you just think about it, the fact that they were like, no, he's a good coach. He's our guy.
Yeah. They committed to it.
Yeah. And we're not going to laugh at him. That's the part that's crazy to me is he could do ridiculous things without himself being a joke to the people who hire him is insane. So I think they're going to, and all that said, that is why they're going to stick with Jared Goff. They are a stability-based team. I think they're like, we trust the people in the room. We pick people for good reason. And so
Well,
they're
they
going
know
to
who the
stick with
leaders
Jared.
are too.
Correct. And listen, everything's clicking. Is it blasphemous to say, like, at what point do we, like, what if we just happened to draft somebody who was a stud and then, like, they haven't even tried that yet. Like, that's the thing where I'm like, could we start developing a future quarterback? And if you luck
Yeah.
into it, like, that's the only way Dan Campbell would ever approve of, like, hey, Jared, we coached this kid up. He's ready. Like,
Well, they drafted Hendon Hooker. He's still
great
there.
name. He is.
Yeah. But he was insane at Tennessee before he got hurt.
Yeah,
He was
that's
really
true.
good.
And maybe he will develop that way. I guess I don't see him as that guy, but I haven't seen enough of him. So that doesn't mean, yeah.
I mean, past couple years, not at all.
So
I have no idea if he's progressed or what.
Yeah, 100%. Saw a little bit of Teddy Bridgewater.
We did. Teddy wanted to get back in for a Super Bowl run. I wonder if anyone's going to sign him, or if he's eligible to sign now, like for the next 2 games. That'd be great.
I don't know if he's eligible. Yeah, that would have been awesome. But I think if you had to boil that game down for the Lions beyond just the mistakes of Goff, is there anything to add there? I do want to give some credit. We talked about it a little bit. It's a bummer the Lions lost at this stage because it didn't feel like the right opponent in terms of a storyline thing.
Yep.
However, if this was any other team, I think we'd really be singing the praises of some of Washington more, or the media would at large. I have a terrible sinking feeling that their fun time journey ends next week, but
it will.
100%. In the meantime, because I gave Kingsbury a lot of love, man, I love Dan Quinn.
Backwards hat Dan Quinn, not
backwards
forward.
Backwards hat Dan Quinn is pissed at his kids at a softball meet.
Yep. He is completely different. There's been so many times, even this year, early in the year when he was figuring it out. Forward hat, first half, get your ass kicked. Come out at halftime, hats turned backwards, basically looking at the camera and saying, "Zach, live bet me right now because watch what's gonna fucking happen." He's been really good there. The whole staff in Washington has been super good, has been super fun. I think more and more we're seeing like the younger, energetic former players, people like that get in and change the culture. So hopefully we see some of these other teams start doing that. Obviously the Bears are hoping that happens by hiring Ben Johnson. It seems like that's what the Raiders want to do. I'm unsure. Saints now probably are going to look to McCarthy. I don't know who else is really going to get in there other than possibly John Gruden. Like, I feel like that's a 2-horse race. They haven't even interviewed Gruden yet, though. Jaguars feels like that's a mystery. Like, I still think that's a Gruden situation, but I don't know.
Names we've heard brandied about at different points. Not this year, but it's like for years it was like, who's going to hire Kellen Moore? So he
might come back to Dallas.
Yeah. So I think he's in that race. I think will anybody interview Antonio Pierce? Probably not.
He's a DC guy though. He could be a Lions defensive coordinator.
Yeah, I hope someone gives him a shot. Will anyone interview Lovey? Who knows? I hope, but damn. What about Mike Shanahan?
Will there be a college coach come up and may have in a legitimate position this year? That's the one where there's at least one college coach hire for a head coach every year, and I don't think we have that this year.
No, well, the only guy I've heard rumored can't interview right now because it's Marcus Freeman of the Irish. But
I think that's bullshit.
It'd be a bad move. Like I get why they would want that because I think I like Marcus Freeman a lot, and I think he's clearly a culture guy. But why would he want to leave Notre Dame?
I think Detroit or Dallas is destined for Kellen Moore.
College football is interesting because I feel like a lot of the bigger names either had off years or just committed other places, or if Ryan Day gets freaking sacked somehow, does he get an interview somewhere? He won't. But if he did,
I mean, I think he'd get an interview.
Yeah.
If I'm Jacksonville, fuck it. Like, call Dabo. I'm telling you, like, it's gonna happen at some point. The Trevor Lawrence experiment's not working. Call up Dabo. He's a culture guy. He's someone who knows Trevor Lawrence.
It's
the
far enough
same
away from
region.
Urban Meyer now. It doesn't
Yeah.
look exactly the same. Yeah.
Why not? And if I am anyone in the AFC South, like, you got to go right now, because Tennessee is starting over with a new general manager. Houston is, I don't know what Houston is. They're clearly in the best possible situation over the next 5-10 years, but they're not that good. And then the Colts are running it back for some unknown reason, except for it seems like they're going to try to tank so they can draft Arch Manning. Like, that's the only reason why I could see them running it back there. So if I'm the Jaguars, like, we have some people in place. Let's get some good coaches, like a good culture here, and go.
Yeah.
Should be able to.
The only other guy, I just remembered the one dude we haven't talked about yet for Raiders, is there's some rumors that is a possible landing spot for Pete Carroll. But
maybe he wants to coach again. So maybe.
I just confirmed, not that it's confirmed, but a couple of spots have reported that, like, the Raiders' first choice is Ben Johnson, but Pete Carroll's number 2.
Interesting. They want a culture guy, so I think they should consider Pete Carroll and Doug Peterson. I think it'd be foolish not to.
Yeah, I think Doug is going to have to do some rebuild, but that stinks.
I guess, but I don't know.
I want someone to take a look at Ron Rivera, but
the Bears did.
Yeah, I know, but
he is. Who should take a look at Ron Rivera? Ron Rivera. He should take a look at the beard, realize what the fuck he is. Last time we saw him was a press conference where the reporter told him he is no longer in the playoffs, and he had no idea.
It's true. Well, it's the only other thing I was going to say about Washington is they were adrift for a little bit there. Like, they traded Chase Young away.
Honestly, not a bad move, though.
No, in hindsight, great, but it's like no plans for our future. They did that for a third round.
They traded away. They also traded away Sweat, same position to the Bears, but they were doing nothing. It was Dan Snyder was trying to increase the value of the franchise somehow. That was about it.
So obviously they've struck gold with Daniels, for now, and we'll see how he continues to develop. But it's good to see that what a first step, So that part's great. And who knows? They might be. I have to keep telling myself they're literally like a game away from the Super Bowl. They could win.
Yeah. Jalen Hurts seemingly is not very mobile right now after hurting his knee. Very clearly they could win.
They have at least the second best shot to win that game next week.
For sure. You can't take that away from them.
No.
If the Eagles just commit to giving Saquon the ball 30 times, the Eagles will win that game. But we're talking about Kellen Moore, who is fucking terrible at his job. Yeah. And we're talking about Nick Sirianni, who is just going to be chirping Kellen Moore the entire time, making Kellen Moore worse at his job.
Yeah. I mean, I know. I want to hop around from there because we've talked mostly about what I think was the worst game of the weekend. As much as I like the Lions, I think I preferred the other 3 games. I could take it, leave it with some of those. But let's start chronologically Saturday with Ref Bowl. That's right, Ted. Yeah. They did it again. The refs seemingly cost everything for the Texans. Any reactions to this game, and any reactions? Do you think, did the ref stuff hit a high enough pitch that it's going to impact next game at all?
No, people need to get over it. I think
Troy Aikman needs to get over it.
That too. I think the roughing the passer. I didn't watch it in real time because I was at the football tryout stuff.
Yeah,
but the roughing the passer call was clearly bad. That was a bad call. Some of the other stuff, fucking get over it. Like, it's really not that bad. And there's calls both ways. The Chiefs, we need to stop acting like they are magic or just above the law, and that's why they're winning. They're just good. Stop. They had fucking Caitlin Clark there. They almost burnt the city down. The Rizzler was there. Maybe you guys need to start figuring out who to bring into your stadium to bring a little magic, and then you'll get a little bit of magic happening. The Chiefs are good. They create their own luck, and it is what it is. And they're going to win this next game.
Yeah.
Not that hard to figure out.
They're definitely heels, which I appreciate that they're finally leaning into it. Yes, Patrick Mahomes is looking for foul calls, but so is everybody else.
Yeah, everybody. We had fucking Dalton Kincaid flopping like a fish in the Ravens Bills game. Like
It's true.
it is what it is. And the Chiefs are not heels. They're not.
It's not true. I wondered how we were going to be on that. I was like, Zach is the only one who's like, the Bills are my heel this week.
They are.
They're not. There's no way. That is not
the
what's
Bills
happening.
are trying so hard. Oh, they said that we were too small. They said that we weren't No one said that, Josh, you fucking illiterate fuck. Like, just try to play football and it's not gonna work. Like,
I am with you that it is basic, but it is also, they're the Hulk Hogan of all of this, which does that mean we should boo him secretly? Of course. LA agrees. But
sure.
It's an old school face heel dynamic, and I'm with it.
Andy Reid will never, ever, ever be a heel. That's the end of the conversation for me. He's just not. And Joe Tooney, are you kidding me? The guy is a Hall of Fame guard deciding, hey, I'm just going to play left tackle because of the team. I will sacrifice my future. I will sacrifice my stats. I'll sacrifice everything for the team. Give him the MVP this year. Lamar Jackson's out. He deserves it.
That's true. I did not like Sean McDermott coming out and being like, we are not a city of losers before playing the Chiefs.
Also, it's too late for a fan base to adopt the song Mr. Brightside. You missed the boat. That can't be your thing in 2025.
Especially when it's already Michigan's thing.
And it's what? Is Colorado Avalanche? Did they do it? Or the Nuggets? Someone there does it.
Yeah, I think the Avs.
Or no. Avs maybe. I think the Nuggets might do all the small things. One of them does Blink-182.
Oh, that's the Avs.
Yeah. Someone else does Mr. Brightside though too. Like you can't just
hockey
2024, 2025 be like, hey, wouldn't this be quirky? This new song? They're the ones who should play I'm the Man. Fucking adopt that one.
Got gas in the tank. Maybe, dude. But I will say, jumping to the
how do you feel about Mark Andrews? You still a fan? What a loser.
Still a fan. It's a sad day for our boy. I felt it happening. There was a moment as they set up for it where I was like, wow, what a comeback by the Ravens. Wait a minute. If they don't get this, they still lose. I was like, that felt so, that game and the end of the Rams game, both were like, wow, we've really turned the tide. And it's like they haven't actually done it yet.
Yeah, they're down too much.
Yeah.
Mark Andrews had drops the entire game. Like the dude, get him some sugar. He was too shaky. It was not great.
Mark Andrews had the Ravens have some questions to answer, which is the most sports talky thing I've ever said. But
it's true though.
They literally, maybe this is the more articulate way to say it. I don't think very often you get to see a sports team like actually age. I think the 49ers do that in a more literal way because suddenly everyone was hurt. But I think the Ravens are more of an example of like Tucker and even Andrews aren't suddenly bad. They're just worse all of a sudden. You can just see it. It's like everyone's like, oh, wow, Tucker misses kicks sometimes. And it's like, yeah, dude, it's his 16th fucking year in the league.
That's true. Yeah. Something needs to happen. Everyone's giving Mike Tomlin shit about, hey, we get to the playoffs, lose right away.
I know.
I don't think John Harbaugh should be fired, but there should be a conversation. I don't know what else to change. Because they have the players. They got Todd Monken at offensive coordinator, new DC this year, Zach Orr. I thought he did a really good job. But I don't know. New coaches, new team, same story.
If I could, here's what I would say. If you or I were the GM of that team, we'd be more aggressive. I don't know if that'd be smart. Yeah, okay. Maybe not a great analogy. We'd be more aggressive, whoever we were GMs for, especially you. That'd be what, get in there.
I would argue they've been pretty aggressive, though.
I don't know. Maybe I'm reaching here a little bit. I just think they have and they haven't. And maybe they're taking steps in that direction. I go back to the Lamar Jackson deal, and it's like, oh, we don't know if we want Lamar. Oh, really? Geniuses? Yeah, you do. And it's like they did it after he forced them to. And yes, they went and got Henry, but the reports were that that was largely to like make people in the room happy.
That's one of the most aggressive things you can do, though, is pay a running back.
Yeah, and who knows? Honestly, that was another topic that we can cover a different day, especially depending on how the Saquon story ends, which is have Henry and Barkley reshaped the running back economy. But I hope they've given stock to like if you have a guy who's literally an MVP candidate, pay him. But
or maybe you should pay an offensive line because both teams did that.
It's true. And here's what I will tell you: don't do one without the other.
True. Yeah.
Same thing we've always said
or
about
you'll get
quarterbacks. Yeah.
Or you'll get the Giants with Saquon's first however many years.
100%. So that would be the only thing I would point at with Baltimore's if the age-old football question of are you most mad at the QB, the coach, or the GM? I guess in that trifecta, I'm most upset at the GM. But
I guess. I mean, that game was so winnable. And I think Lamar screwed it. Like Mark Andrews made some bad plays too, but the turnovers from Lamar was just not it.
No, that first half. Well, it's silly, but it's true. Of the actual question they're answering, because it's the one people are asking, is like Lamar's worse in the playoffs. He's straight up like the stats are there. I don't know.
Cold.
I think cold. I mean, very clearly he tries to do too much always, but it's. And I don't know if that's fixable for a guy who can literally do it.
Well, that's true. I think a big issue that people aren't giving enough credit to was Zay Flowers was out. Yeah. Like throughout Lamar's entire career to this point, it's like he doesn't have a number one receiver or a receiver who can just beat man coverage. And then they finally got one with Zay Flowers and he wasn't there, which means Lamar has to do more to just get time for his receivers. Yeah. And then you saw what happened. If Zay Flowers is there, I think it's a different game.
And listen, it's hard to win any game when you lose the turnover battle. This is not the year to do that against Josh Allen. That's been years where that has literally been the thing that's killed him. They shared that stat during the game. They haven't lost a turnover battle all year.
Wonder what's going to happen this week.
100%. He's about to throw 5. But that said, I won't say.
You know who I'm nervous about, though, as a Chiefs fan in this case? I am petrified of Von Miller.
I wondered if we were going to talk about him. He's up to something.
He is going to go against the Chiefs' right tackle, Juwan Taylor, who is dog shit.
Yeah.
He's going to have at least one turnover. At least.
And, yeah, I know. Well, and I wanted to look at what the weather was going to be like there because Chiefs, this is like the one team, hope it's not snowy. You will not have the advantage. No. So I know. I think let's end on predictions because the only game we haven't wrapped about. Any comments on the man? Talk about winnable games. The game I had the most fun watching. God, that Eagles-Rams game.
That was a good game.
If the snow lets up, that game has a different winner.
I think so too. Matthew Stafford, God, he's so good at football.
And it took him literally 2 possessions. What cost him the game was the 2 possessions in the third quarter where they couldn't throw.
Yeah, he's so good. We saw Cooper Kupp bounce back a little bit. Puka's incredible. Kyron Williams is incredible. Their defense is so good. Like they just suddenly turned it on over the past couple of weeks. It would have been a different game if they had Aaron Donald. I really thought he was going to come back for a playoff run.
Out of the snow. I thought we were going to see him run out there.
I mean, obviously they're not one-on-one against each other, but Aaron Donald versus Jalen Carter is just everything I want right now. Jalen Carter's a menace too. But that was a really good game. I thought the Eagles were completely throwing that away. That final clip of Saquon in the backfield talking to Jalen Hurts before that big run is awesome. That's so good.
Yeah, I did think post that, like in the possession where the Eagles had the punt away, I'm like, the only time I was fully rooting for the Eagles is when I thought they were going to lose the game on the Lane Johnson holding call. I was like, that can't be how it ends. It can't end on a Lane holding call. He doesn't deserve that.
No, for sure. Does not deserve that. Eagles continue to be that, like, I think the Commanders are in deep trouble just based on talent. They also lost their best offensive lineman with a torn ACL in that game. The Eagles are very beat up right now too. They have a chance here.
Their offense has. I can't say they haven't looked good. They looked better this week than they did against the Packers, but they looked.
Philly, they haven't been great.
But is it fair to say they looked bad against the Packers? And I think
yes.
I think versus the Rams, like that offense pre-Blizzard didn't look great. And then
the whole, I think it's unfair to say, I guess, their offense hasn't looked good. I will say their passing offense has not looked good at all.
And that's the most accurate way to say it is their passing offense has not looked good. And until they had to, they were not choosing to run.
That's Kellen Moore, man.
I know.
That doesn't ever. If they, even against the Packers, as bad as the Philly offense was, Saquon averaged 5 yards per carry, and he could have had a lot more if he didn't take a knee. Like, just give him the ball, man. There's 2 games left, and you're going to have a week off in between this next game and the one and the Super Bowl. Just give him 30 carries.
And you're now playing the most one-dimensional team in the whole NFC bracket. Like, make the Commanders have to be on the field less. That's like, just control the ball. So we'll see. I think that'll kind of be a shootout. And by the way, if the Eagles go into that game and they're like, oh, we're going to throw it around, that's a scary situation for them, I think, because right now, I think the play calling for to maybe take back some of the love I gave to Kingsbury earlier. I think some of the play calling is, Daniels, how far can you throw it? 70 yards?
That's Cliff Kingsbury football.
Yeah, 100%. You've got a cannon, don't you? Roll out there, see what you can do. So I don't know.
Cliff Kingsbury is Jason Lessick. And whereas like, we got to make the defense think about it. Let's chuck it 80 yards every couple plays just so they have to think we might do it again.
Yeah, it's true. And it's like there's no receiver within 20 yards, but just let them know what your arm's like.
I like that out of a coach, to be honest.
You know who loves that? Sean Payton. Bo Nix special.
No kidding. Bo Nix is a dink and dunk guy that all of a sudden you'll chuck it 90 yards. Like, okay.
No deep safety coverage. So here we are, prediction factory time. We've got some predictions to end the show. We'll start on the NFL side of things, of course, since we're already there. But let me just ask this first, which is, I've got 3 questions for you. They are going to be in this particular order. Which game are you most excited about? Question 2 is going to be, what outcomes do you want to happen? And question 3 is going to be, what outcomes do you think will happen?
Most excited for Bills Chiefs. That game, I feel like there's no doubt it comes down to the last possession. It just feels like it's going to be that type of game, as it pretty much always is.
Yeah.
And then what I think and want are the exact same thing, and it's the exact thing I bet last week for 10 times my money. And if the Chiefs beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl, I get 16 times my money. Lock that in. Chiefs are going to beat the Bills. I think I have zero doubt about that. I have zero worries. The Eagles Commanders, though, I said last week, Bills Ravens was for the MVP, and since Lamar lost, I get to reevaluate because Josh Allen's not the MVP.
That's funny.
I think you can give it to Jane Daniels. I think he's in the conversation, and he's been the MVP of the playoffs.
Yeah, give it to Burrow.
Look at it.
If you're not going to give it to one of the
others. He's not even in the. Where is he?
We're doing that. Give it to Von Miller then.
Fucking Von. I forgot he was there. Then all of a sudden, he's making plays again.
It's hard to debate.
Jane Daniels has 900 rushing yards this year. He's been passing all over the place. He has 4 game-winning drives, which is more than not any other quarterback. More than Josh Allen and Lamar. I think the exact same as Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson combined.
Yeah.
Most this year's Patrick Mahomes. He has 7. But he has 4 fourth quarter comebacks, I think, as well. Jane Daniels has been so good. He's the MVP. Give it to him or Joe Thuney, who is dog. Dog.
Hey, beware a team that has no fear of failure. The Commanders are flying.
Yeah.
We have no consequence. They will feel bad if they lose because you don't get this far very often. But I in the last game at least, I think they were playing way looser than the Lions. I think you could tell that the Lions felt the team of destiny, and the Commanders were like, "Who cares? We're in the playoffs. We've already won a game."
Dan Campbell will refuse the bye next year if the Lions are the number 1 seed.
Yeah, that
hurt them.
Real. Yeah, I know. They got some of their guys back, but it's just not how they function. But yeah, that's an interesting philosophy thing to go into with certain coaches, because Andy Reid looks at a bye and goes nom nom nom. But more buffet type. But game I'm most excited for, I'm gonna say Eagles Commanders, because I think I'm most okay with either option. And I guess I don't have this sense of dread. It's like, I think the Chiefs game could be a blowout.
I don't know. The Chiefs aren't good enough to blow somebody out.
No, but if they're going to blow out anybody, it's the team who beat them fair and square the regular season. I just think that
would feel so good, though.
to you. I'm dread over that. But I also think I'm with you. I have some, you wouldn't describe it this way, but I would. I have some mixed feelings about the Bills. So I don't know if I'm heavily rooting. I wanted the Ravens to be in there. So it's like.
Same.
So that's kind of how I feel about this one. Meanwhile, Eagles Commanders, like, I'm rooting for the Commanders because why the hell not? But should be fun.
It's chaos, yeah.
And it's
if
like
Commanders are in the Super Bowl. That's crazy.
So here's where I'm at. Now, in terms of what I am rooting for to happen in terms of a Super Bowl matchup, I have one matchup that I do not want. And it is the two teams I'm probably rooting for playing each other. I do not want Bills Commanders.
That's true. That's a good point. Yeah, that's not good.
No one's a heel. There is a heel, but they're weird about it. And like,
there's no storylines there.
No, that feels so weird. It's just funny. It's only funny if the Commanders beat the Bills or it feels like a cakewalk.
The only thing they can tie back on, I think Washington beat the Bills in a Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, listen, there's a story there. The Bills have a story. So, like, there's something there, but I'd rather have it Bills-Eagles.
For sure. And then Bills would be the face in that matchup. That's so boring. I hate that.
I'm honestly, the only sucky thing about this is it feels like that game would be bad or the Chiefs will for sure win, but that kind of feels like what's going to happen anyway. So hell, give me Chiefs Commanders. One team's still racist. One team might be racist next year.
Talk about a team that has truly, how do you get to a Super Bowl and feel like you're free and playing with no pressure? Like, the Commanders would feel like truly nothing to lose.
The Chiefs either three-peat or they lose to the Commanders.
Which is awesome.
Because they'll
three-peat. Yeah.
But
that would be...
If that game's great, that's the most fun game.
Yeah.
Unless...
Sure, yeah.
Okay, let's even book the game. My question for you is this. What is the better option? We get a great Chiefs Commanders game and Commanders win, or we get a great Chiefs Eagles game and Eagles win. If that game's good, they could suck me in. Like, that would mean a lot to Philly. That'd be really vindicating for a few guys. I would love that for Saquon.
It'd mean a lot to Philly.
As a team, the city can blow me.
They just won. And they were just here against the Chiefs. It doesn't
lost
matter.
Against the Chiefs. It's okay. Fair. All right. I get you.
If there's a fan base who fucking deserves it at this point, it's probably the Commanders.
Or the Bills.
No. If the Commanders, this is why the Commanders can't win. We need to get off this fucking name.
No, we don't.
If they win the Super Bowl,
we have to keep it. I love that.
I know. I don't like that.
Don't you want that? No. Zach, think about this. A team is forced to keep a name. That's awesome.
Not Commanders, though.
Now I wish they were like the dickheads or something. It's like, oh,
yeah,
crap.
Yeah. It is kind of interesting. That's the storyline.
Yeah.
We have one team who is forced to get rid of their racist name, and they hate it, versus a team doing the tomahawk chop at them.
True. Oh man. Okay, I hate this because I know what would actually happen is the Chiefs win that game and the Commanders take the lesson away of like, see, if only we were more racist.
Yeah, sure.
Or this is what I really want to happen, which is going into the game. Suddenly the Commanders' new owner comes out and he's like, these guys with their racist name. Even though
he's
he's
whole
been,
week.
yeah, he's been publicly like trying to go back to it, and now he should come out and be like, ugh, losers, racists.
I mean, okay, I was going to say something else, which just isn't true, I guess. I was going to say, because one of the appealing things for Lamar Jackson being in the Super Bowl is it's the first time a lot of people in the world are seeing, this team or whatever playing. Yeah. And usually it's Tom Brady versus Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady versus some other white or prototypical quarterback. And if it's Lamar Jackson, it's like, oh, that's something no one's ever seen, and it's proving we can win this way. And I was about to say Jaden Daniels, at least, then we have a black quarterback in the Super Bowl. Fully forgot Jalen Hurts is black. Doesn't seem that way.
Patrick, but yeah.
Patrick's not. Look at his, no.
Okay, I understand the point you're making. We're not.
Is Jackson Mahomes still around?
Yeah, he went viral this week because everyone thought Taylor was sitting next to who's the power forward from the Bulls in the 90s, Dennis Rodman. Everyone thought Taylor was sitting next to Dennis Rodman in the booth, and everyone was like, oh, okay, don't do the what black man is that thing. It was Jackson Mahomes.
They mistaked Jackson Mahomes for Dennis Rodman?
Correct. That's a thing that happened online this week.
Was it similar? That doesn't even seem like it could be even close.
The whole point was it was like, what are we doing? But
this reminds me of when we played before a Timberwolves game, and I had 20 nerds asking me if that's Kobe Bryant, and it was Lamar Odom. Like, no, that's not Kobe.
My favorite is when people do that in sports because their name's on the fucking jersey. But it's crazy. So I'm with you. To expand it all, but yes, you're right. Jalen Hurts does fit that bill as well. I will say I was fully out on the Eagles last week. I thought more about it. God, can we get if they win the Super Bowl, give Saquon Barkley 10 minutes on Joe Shane. Uncut, uncovered. Make him sit next to him.
I'd also like a separate simulcast of is the Giants owner Mara. Is that his name? Yeah. I just want to watch him watch the game. If Saquon's in it, that'd be great.
It's him and the Mannings. No, I know. Well, Zach, we've killed enough time. We have a main event to get to.
We do.
Who are you picking in the greatest college championship of the 12-team era? We have the Ohio State Buckeyes. We have the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. First off, what a playoff.
It's been a good playoff, I think.
They ended well.
The first round wasn't great.
The last round of games, even though it feels like it was 10 years ago, were awesome.
Yeah. It does feel like it's too long in between, even though it's not.
Yeah, but you say that as you talk, I'm going to look up when the first round of the playoffs were.
It was a while ago. And I understand people, like you said, upset with the first round of the playoffs. Only thing I'll say is you can point to the last two NFL playoffs and say the exact same. Wild card weekend usually stinks, and then it gets a lot better. We just had a great weekend of football for the college football playoff. First round stunk, and then all of a sudden we've gotten really good football ever since. So I think we're good to go. Do you have the date or no?
Yeah, the first games happened on December 20th, so we are fully a month out.
A month. I mean, I guess that makes sense. But yeah.
Why does it feel longer than that?
It does feel long. I mean, that's the start of the bowl season, though. Yeah. So going into tonight, I have a lot. I'll figure out who I'm cheering for on air right now because I don't know. On one side, I would love back-to-back Big Ten national champions. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
On the other side, because I hate both of these teams.
Yeah.
I'm trying. What is this? Is I believe when this all started, I said this is the one matchup I didn't want to see. So, help me figure out what would cause Brian Kelly the most pain, and that is where I am going. Because on one side, Notre Dame's coach. What's his name again?
Oh, frick me. I'll look it up.
Whatever.
Marcus Freeman.
Marcus Freeman in this playoffs has more bowl wins than Brian Kelly had during his entire time at Notre Dame. I would argue these don't count as bowls, but it is what it is. I love that.
Yeah.
So he's already feeling pain, which I think is good. Now, what causes him more pain? To see Notre Dame win the entire thing and his brother, offensive coordinator Chip Kelly for the Ohio State Buckeyes, lose? Or does he already have enough pain from from Notre Dame and seeing Chip get the championship? Does that cause him more pain? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I think he's rooting for Chip.
Do you think so?
I think he left Notre Dame high and dry.
I think he hates Notre Dame too, but I think he hates his brother. Why would Brian Kelly want Chip to get a national championship and not him? I think he would hate that.
Yeah. I'm looking up right now, see if there's any news there. I think he hates both. I think it's a good question by you because it's like, what is he rooting against more?
I know. That's kind of that's what I want to cheer for. I wish we had Brian Kelly on the horn. I wish we could call him up and ask. In the meantime, we have Jaden Daniels, his former quarterback, going crazy while he couldn't he won the Heisman, but they couldn't win anything at LSU either. And how did he not win with Malik Neighbors and Jaden Daniels? And Brian Thomas Jr. Stupid.
Oh, Brian Kelly reveals his pick to Sports Illustrated. Okay, here we go. This is what we need to know.
I will say the paywall.
It's by the LSU Tigers on SI, so we'll see if they give it to me. Kelly's pick. Oh, you called it. Notre Dame.
Okay, see? So that's why I have to cheer for Ohio State.
He's such an asshole. You're so right. Here's his quote. You ready for this?
Sure.
I'm happy for all those guys. I pull for them. Okay, good start.
Okay.
A lot of the guys that are on both sides of the ball, I recruited. Obviously, I want to see how those guys do and have them win it all. I think they're in a great position. Totally excited for those guys.
Okay. So Brian Kelly's going to take a national championship win if players he recruited also win.
By the way, on both sides.
I think is he seeing both sides in terms of Ohio State and Notre Dame, or both sides of the ball for Notre Dame?
I think he's given himself some leeway of like, I recruited guys for both teams, but I'm more so rooting for Notre Dame because I think it's like a comma in there. Yeah, so he says I recruited a lot of guys. I recruited a lot of guys for both sides. So I think he's adding in like, don't worry.
Shut up, dude.
Yeah,
I hate
he
this
sucks.
guy.
Hey, he wins no matter what. So
congrats, Brian Kelly.
Yeah,
there we go. That's all we need.
That stinks because you know what? I'm going to reverse psychology all of this. I'm going to reverse psychology, you reverse psychology, because I think he put out a whole article to be like, no, I'll be happy if Notre Dame wins. And it's a trick.
And he doesn't mean it. Sure.
Yeah, 100%. Because deep down, he did mean those things when he's like, this program doesn't have the tools to win a national championship. It's their fault. And now he's like, oh, good for them. But I think it's an act. I think he secretly is like, told you. Like he's going to come out and say, told you if they lose.
I mean, he's in a position where he will come out on the correct side no matter what.
Listen, man, he can do what he wants.
He can, unfortunately. Allegedly. I mean, there's no doubt though that he did recruit a lot of the players who are at Notre Dame right now.
And they all prefer Marcus Freeman.
Yes, for sure.
That's my favorite insider poll.
But I would assume most of the players who are meaningful in this game for Notre Dame were recruited by Brian Kelly.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I can't cheer for them.
I hear you. I think this is exactly how I want to go because you're pulling for Ohio State because it will cause Brian Kelly more pain. I am pulling for Notre Dame because I think it is the most hurtful to the NCAA. I've spent a lot of time of like, what does the NCAA not want? They wanted every excuse to make Notre Dame get into a conference next year.
I know. Well, see, that's the thing. I'm on Notre Dame's or on NCAA side. Let's pick a fucking conference. It's bullshit.
I agree with you. But we have to pick our battles and fuck the NCAA. So I guess my champions are the Irish. Go Catholics.
Go Northern Illinois.
Yeah, our real national champions. That's who I'm rooting for. But honestly, the conference getting $50 million for making the national championship so Notre Dame gets to keep it is crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah,
that's
they pocketed $52 million. Yeah. How is that allowed?
They should have to give it back to the church.
They should.
That's their conference. They have a conference with God. That's what it needs to be. If you want to do this bullshit, that's the stakes here.
100%. Or all your other, give it to Marquette.
Yeah, that's true. Split it with every religious school. That's a good call.
Yeah. They should have to get into a conference. I agree. That said, I do think the NCAA is rooting for Ohio State, so I will root for, of course, the Fighting Irish.
Fair enough. Gary says, how old are you? Do we remember a genie movie with Sinbad? I know of it. I'm not a movie guy. I'm 30, so I don't know if that hits my demographic at all.
I'm slightly younger. I'm at 28, but is that right? Yep. Sorry.
Nailed it. Yeah.
Well, I got confused, but that always happens because I always think of you as 3 years older than me, but my birthday comes before you, so we get half a year of this. But all that to say, I think it's one of the straight to DVD ones that they did, like one of their sequels. I also remember the Sinbad animated movie.
Really?
And I also remember Sinbad the comedian being in First Kid.
I watched the movie for the first time last night that I think this is the show to say it on, probably.
Oh, hit me.
And you know me. If someone says, this is a great movie, you're going to love it. You know what I do. I don't watch it.
Oh,
well, not that I hate it. I just don't watch it because, okay, great.
Yeah.
You're telling me I'm going to love it. I take your word for it. I'll move on. I don't need to waste my time figuring out if I'm going to like it or not.
You coach back it. Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. And I knew I was going.
Noted.
I knew I was going to like this movie. I guess I didn't like put it together. Wait a minute. Gary just said Mandela effect. They claim a Sinbad movie doesn't exist. Is that true? I definitely remember there's a genie movie with Sinbad. And I didn't even watch the movie. Okay. Anyway, I knew I was going to like this movie. I didn't really realize how much it is perfect for me, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
I finally watched Miracle.
Okay. Yeah. Did you like it?
I loved it. It was a great movie.
Funny. Finally watched Miracle. Yeah, it's like if you came on the show and been like, you know what I did? I watched Remember the Titans.
I mean, that's one of my favorite movies ever. I wanted to dislike the movie though.
Yeah.
You know, everyone says they loved it. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll probably like it. And in my mind, it's like, I guess I knew the story, right? Like, obviously I know what happens. I know what it's about. It's so pro-America. And I completely didn't even put 2 and 2 together that it's Olympics. Like, it's not just a hockey movie, it's Olympics, which I knew was Olympic team, but I'm like, it's so America versus Soviet Union. And of course it's perfect for me.
And the Soviet Union, the only movie the Soviet Union is more evil than in that movie is Rocky 4.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I've seen that one.
But they're bad. They're like terrible people in that movie. That's like the funniest part is it's like, oh, they're monsters. I also think, did it probably surprise you? I think usually when I hear about sports movies like that I haven't seen, I'm expecting the coach to be like touchy-feely, uplifting. And he's like, your kind of coach.
Oh, for sure. I knew this guy just like hearing about him. Obviously he's from around us. So I knew he was kind of a dick. I didn't really like, so good though. I mean, I've never seen a movie with Kurt Russell in it before. I'm like, I know the name, no idea who that is. I'm like, he was, I had to look it up. I've never seen, other than apparently he was in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 or something.
He's the dad.
Oh, okay. That's the only thing I've ever seen him in, I guess. But never seen Kurt Russell. He banger. Absolute banger. Movie was great. I didn't realize Ryan Suter's dad was on the Miracle team. That he didn't really have a big part, but that I really like that. It was a great movie. Good stuff.
You didn't see The Hateful Eight?
Nope. Haven't seen any of. He looked like he was in a lot of Western movies. Haven't seen any of them.
Yeah, and some things I haven't seen that many of them. So if people are mad that I started with Hateful Eight, sorry. You haven't seen Sky High?
No.
It's a terrible movie. Don't watch it. But it was part of my childhood.
Okay. Okay.
He was on Monday Night Nitro for WC Double one time.
Okay, I might have seen that. I don't know.
Oh, it was in the year 2000. Oh, Kurt Russell killed WCW.
Oh shit.
That's when it was bad. But you probably all over Miracle though. The name on the front of the jersey a hell of a lot more important than the name on the back.
Who do you play for?
Yeah.
Just running laps until he says United States of America. You know what I said to that? Hell yeah. I was so fucking pumped up.
It's all so Zach coded to like get your team so mad at you that they go, "You're right, coach. God damn you." It's like, yeah. It only happens in movies, by the way. That's right. Your hatred for me is a circle. It comes around until you're devoted to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Bringing in a new kid to replace him. Why are you doing this? We're a family. Oh, we're a family, huh? Okay, fine. Okay.
Very Tom Landry.
Trick them into loving each other. Gotcha.
Yeah, that is true.
A lot of gotchas from Kurt Russell in this movie.
Yeah. Speaking of Rocky, my favorite part of that movie is what's the USA secret weapon in that movie? Nobody soaks at punches like that fucking goalie. Can we get someone to stop shooting on goal?
No shit. Yeah, that was never talked about. And the kid, by the way, he's like, "You're benching me? Brother, you just gave up 10 goals." Yeah.
We're going to try something different.
Yeah, I think it's warranted. It's fine.
Yeah, we're saving you for the big game where you're blocking things with your pinky finger.
Also, I gave you a test. Take the fucking test. I'm the coach. Like, listen.
It's crazy you actually watched Miracle for the first time.
Yeah, it was a great movie.
Meanwhile, I made Claire watch The Replacements for the first time this week. Turns out that movie's worse than I remember it.
Oh, really? I've never seen that either. I've heard I'd like that one as well.
Oh, here, maybe I'll coach this for you because maybe this will make you want to watch it. You'd like it. It's not a good movie. But it's it's corny bullshit, but it's great. So it's worth watching for, let me picture this. It's literally, it's the NFL has broken down, or their version of the NFL. They can't use any real teams. So their football league is broken down because of a strike. Replacement players have to come in. And the down on his luck quarterback who's coming back into the league is, of course, played by Keanu Reeves, who opens the movie by, he's a diver, like a scuba diver, for like missing and lost items. So he starts the movie by reliving his glory days as I think Michigan college quarterback underwater. He's underwater taking snaps, like blowing bubbles and doing fake throws.
That's great.
So we got that. We have a dance scene in prison. It's all your favorite parts of other sports movies mashed into this one with very little plot.
Is that a movie they can recreate? I feel like that's a movie people would want to see redone today.
I bet they would. Also, you know, it's kind of crazy. Very like the bad guys in the movie are the players asking for more money. Which it's like
that.
Everyone's like, these players have forgotten what the game's about. That's right. Hard. And it's like, okay, yeah, fuck those guys.
It's a game about fun. I watched maybe in the biggest surprise of the weekend. I watched two movies last night after I had to get the bad taste out of my mouth of the Bills winning. I was fucking pissed off. So Miracle was the second movie.
Oh,
first movie that like popped up. I'm like, fuck yeah, we're watching this. Little Giants.
Oh,
that movie's, dude, that movie's even funnier than I remember. There's so many out of pocket comments. That movie's incredible. Rick Moranis is a dog. What a dude. Kicked his brother's ass. What a good movie.
I know.
Icebox, dude. Icebox could play middle linebacker for the Packers right now.
He could play.
Excuse you.
Whoa. I haven't seen it in a long time. I can't keep the name straight. That's
the whole thing. Rick Moranis' daughter. She's like, we got to play football.
Oh yeah.
Brother's like, you can't play for my team. You're a girl.
Have I even seen that whole movie?
You should watch it. So then she's like, let's organize this team of misfits, losers.
Yeah.
The one kid has Stickum. That's great. There's a little skinny kid
They-
who probably shouldn't be alive.
Yeah, they do that in replacements too. Stick them.
Stickum's a great bit.
Coach is Gene
Always good.
Hackman, by the way, from Hoosiers.
Oh, fuck. You kidding me?
Yeah.
I need to watch it. I love Gene Hackman, dude.
John Favreau plays a military man turned middle linebacker.
Wow. I do need to watch this.
I'm warning you, it's not good, but it's perfect.
Maybe next week, because this is also something really quick we should say on air and figure out on air. When's the season finale? Is that going to be one show after the Super Bowl? Probably.
Or is it next week? We always do this.
Well, no. One time our season finale was before the Super Bowl, and then we had too long off, and we're like, okay, let's catch everybody up.
I forgot we did that. That feels like we always are going to do that. I think we come back the week after the Super Bowl.
So that means we have 3 episodes left?
Yeah.
Okay. One of them, maybe leading in, okay, so we have championship weekend show, Pro Bowl show. So maybe Pro Bowl week, it's going to be replacements week.
Yeah.
And I'll break it all down. It'll be the new Marvel watch along here.
Yeah. Maybe that one we could talk about just.
Is Captain America back? By the way, that seems like, does he have a new movie out right now, or is it not him?
He does. You're going to hate this. You're going to hate this. And I don't hate it. So let the other people at home know, but Zach's going to hate this. It's a different guy. He gave the shield to someone else. He gave the shield to Falcon.
So Falcon is Captain America now?
Yeah. He's the Tony White to Roger Staubach.
Okay. Well, let's see him get an octagon with GPP or GSP. Sorry. Apologies.
I think about that sometimes as the funniest thing that's ever happened on the show, because it's like GSP wipes the floor with him.
Kicked his ass. Yeah.
What's his superpower? He's GSP.
Yeah. He's Captain Canada.
It's crazy. And it's the beginning of that movie. It's like, whoa, we've run into a roadblock. He never gets the better of him.
No, really set the tone for me. Like, oh, so if we run into GSP at any point the rest of the movie, we're done.
Yeah, it's like he doesn't get any stronger. And then it really does. I don't know why that scene bothers me so much, because I tried to rewatch it recently. And even like the cool parts, like the elevator scene, I'm like, you can fight your way out of a loaded elevator. You can knock out GSP.
Nah, ground and pound. It's hard to get up when GSP gets you down.
Also, you said that when we watched it. It's one of the funniest things you've ever said, which is it's really a shame to have GSP on there and just have him striking.
Yeah, dude, his takedowns. Like, he's going to wear you down once he brings you down. It's not going to make for a good movie.
We need an MMA fighter who's only going to kick people. GSP?
What? That is true. Why did we, I don't know what time it was, but we couldn't have had like Conor McGregor or something.
I can tell you what time it was. Why didn't we pick Anderson Silva? You Google them, they come up together.
That's true. That's true. I mean, he's a little older at that point, but get the Iceman. Let's get Chuck Liddell in there.
Oh, the natural Randy Couture? That was just David old MMA fighters, but yeah.
Kimbo Slice.
If you want someone who's actually going to scare people, but Wanderlei Silva in there.
True. Oh, Chael Sonnen. He would have stole the show.
He would have.
He would have made him tap.
The least intimidating villain of all time.
No. He's not the least intimidating. Chael is from the streets of what is it? Westland or something?
Oh, Chael's not the least intimidating. DC is.
Oh, DC. Yeah. DC would like hug you to death.
Sometimes I forget that DC came back and ended on top. He really did.
That's so weird. He is like the least.
So rude.
He doesn't, even when he has the belt on, it looks like he stole it from somebody. It looks like
he
he's
did. John Bones Jones.
I mean, true. He is not a champion. He's a fun.
Speaking of not a champion, we end on this. Luke Reimer says Fraud Campbell got to go back to Bountygate without his coordinators.
Brother, watch the beginning of the show. Best thing that could have happened to the Lions. Get Aaron Glenn out of there. Get Ben Johnson out of there. I'm sure he's going to be really good in Chicago. I'm sure Ben Johnson's going to turn it around. He's so good. Okay, well,
Who's Ben
Luke.
Campbell, professional golfer from New Zealand?
Okay.
Get him
Luke
out
also.
there.
Luke's just snuck in at the end after we just talked about Captain America getting his ass whooped by GSP. Luke's a big Captain America guy, so that tells you everything you got to know.
Oh, don't forget, Luke. The name on the front of the jersey is a lot more important than the name on the back. Maybe you need to run some suicides on the ice.
True. Again. God, banger. Okay. Be back next week. Bye.
Miracle.